There comes a moment when it finally hits him. Not when you walked away, not when you stopped texting, but in the silence that follows, that's when the pain sets in. And suddenly, he realizes you're really gone. Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to the channel. If you're here, it's probably because you've walked away from someone who thought you'd always be there, someone who misread your loyalty as weakness, who thought your silence meant surrender. But now, he's feeling it. And today we're going to break down the 4 powerful signs that he's in the real pain of losing you. Let's get something clear. Most people don't realize what they had until it's out of reach. But for men, it often hits late, quietly and deeply. It's not always tears or begging. Sometimes the most powerful sign is the stillness, the empty attempts to distract himself, the sudden flood of memories he can't run from anymore. And if you've been wondering, does he even care that I'm gone? Is he hurting like I am? Was any of it even real? Then stay with me, because what you're about to hear may confirm everything you've been feeling in your gut. No fluff, no cliches, just the raw truth about how regret shows up and what it means when he finally starts to feel the weight of losing a woman who had his back. This is where you find answers, and this is where you start healing from the truth. So let's talk about one of the most confusing signs that he's in the pain of losing you. The silence. Not the kind of silence that says, I'm over it. Not the kind that feels like closure. This is different. It's calculated. It's heavy. It's full of unspoken noise. He disappears. No calls, no texts, no late night, I miss you messages. On the surface, it looks like he's moved on, but behind the scenes, he's watching everything. Your stories, your posts, even those little changes in your bio or profile picture. He might not say a word, but he sees it all. This kind of silence is a defense mechanism. He's trying to protect his ego, because reaching out would mean admitting he lost something. You. What most people don't realize is that men often grieve in private. While women tend to seek support and express their pain outwardly, many men retreat. They go radio silent, not because they're unaffected, but because they don't know how to deal with what they're feeling. And here's where it gets twisted. While he's being silent with you, he's actively trying to stay connected without being seen. He might make a burner account. He might ask mutual friends about you. He might even engage with old posts just to feel a sense of closeness again. Why? Because he's not over you. He's not healed. He's hurting. But his pride is louder than his pain, for now. He watches because he wants to know. Are you really gone? Are you seeing someone new? Have you changed? Are you happy without him? And every smile you post, every time you look unbothered, it stings a little more. He doesn't know if you're genuinely okay or just faking it. But the idea that you're not falling apart without him, that haunts him. This is also when you'll see odd behavior. He might start liking a post from months ago, viewing your story the second it's up, or tagging random people in memories you shared. It's subtle, almost passive-aggressive, but it's all coming from a place of regret. He's searching for signs of hope or punishment. Sometimes both. And here's the truth. Silence doesn't always mean he doesn't care. Sometimes it means he cares too much, but doesn't know how to face it. He watches because he wants a glimpse of what he lost, hoping maybe, just maybe, there's still a crack in the door, but he won't knock. Not yet. He's too afraid of hearing you say what he already suspects, that you've outgrown him, and you're never coming back. So if he's gone silent, but you still feel his eyes on you, you're not imagining it. That silence is not peace. It's the sound of a man coming to terms with the fact that losing you might have been the biggest mistake of his life. And then, out of nowhere, he texts you. No context, no explanation, just a vague, hey, or maybe a random meme, a song, a memory, or something that makes no real sense. At first glance, it looks casual, like he's just being friendly or bored. But don't be fooled. This kind of reaching out, especially after a period of silence, is never random. He's not just checking in, he's checking your temperature. Emotionally, this is one of the clearest signs that the pain of losing you is starting to hit. When a man begins to feel the absence of your energy, your presence, your attention, he panics, but quietly. And instead of saying, I miss you or I messed up, he'll dip his toe back into your world in the safest, most non-committal way possible. It might be a late night message. It might be a comment on your story that doesn't even need a reply. It might even be something completely off topic, like, "Do you still have my hoodie?" But here's the truth. He doesn't care about the hoodie. He's not really curious about the song. He's trying to trigger a response. Any response. Because your silence has now become louder than his pride. When he reaches out like this, it means he's in emotional limbo. He doesn't want to fully admit that he wants you back, because that would mean surrendering control. But he also doesn't want to feel completely cut off. That scares him more than he'll ever say. So what does he do? He sends breadcrumbs, small messages designed to spark a conversation, even if he has no idea what he'd say if you actually responded. It's all impulse, emotion, a need to feel reconnected to something that once gave him certainty and comfort. And here's what's even more telling. When you don't respond, or when you respond with distance, it hits him harder. Suddenly he's reminded that your attention is not guaranteed anymore. That access to you is no longer free. That your energy is something he has to earn now. This is when the confusion sets in for him. He thought time would make him feel better. He thought moving on would be easy. But now, the pain is creeping in, and it's real. So if he's texting you without a reason, calling you out of the blue, or just trying to keep a weak thread of connection alive, it's not random. It's not harmless. It's a quiet confession of regret and fear. The fear that he pushed away someone who was irreplaceable. And when a man starts reaching out like that, he's not over you. He's hurting more than he knows how to say. And reaching for you is how he tries to numb that pain. There's a point after the silence, after the random check-ins, when something shifts and suddenly he starts remembering everything. Out of nowhere, the guy who once seemed emotionally disconnected, careless, or even cold begins bringing up details. Little ones, specific ones. Moments you didn't even think he noticed. It might sound like, "Remember that night we stayed up watching that dumb movie until 3 a.m. Or, "I passed that place we used to get coffee, made me think of you." Or maybe he'll say nothing directly, but he'll post something from a shared memory, a song, a picture, a quote that only you would recognize. When this happens, it's not nostalgia. It's not coincidence. It's a symptom of emotional processing and regret. Because here's what's really going on. His mind is finally catching up to what he lost. And the memories he once pushed away to avoid the pain are now surfacing. Whether he wants them to or not. It's like a floodgate has opened. Everything he didn't take seriously before. The moments you shared, the way you looked at him, the way you showed up, supported him, forgave him. Now it all hits at once. And when those memories resurface, they don't feel comforting. They feel like loss. Because now those moments aren't warm, safe places to return to. They're reminders of something he can't get back. This is why, when he starts remembering everything, he's often emotional, scattered, or even awkward. He may try to act cool, like he just happened to think of something random, but you'll hear it in his tone, you'll see it in his timing, you'll feel the weight in his words. And it's not just the good memories. He might even bring up old arguments, times he hurt you, or didn't show up the way he should have. It can sound like, "I was thinking about that night. I let you down. You didn't deserve that." Or, "I should have handled things differently." When he starts reflecting like this, what he's really doing is replaying the tape. He's watching the highlight reel and the low points on loop, trying to understand how he let someone so meaningful slip through his fingers. Because here's the thing, memory doesn't just return when we miss someone. It returns when we finally realize what we lost. And for men especially, this part of the process tends to come late. After the distractions fade, after the temporary rebound fails, after the silence starts to hurt more than it protects. That's when the brain and heart finally sink, and he starts to see the full picture. Not just what you gave, but how little he gave back in return. So when he starts remembering everything, don't take it lightly. Don't assume he's just being sentimental. That's pain talking. That's the sound of emotional regret surfacing through memory. He's not just reminiscing, he's grieving. Not just the relationship, but the version of himself that was loved by you. And here's what most won't admit. When a man begins recalling the small things, the inside jokes, your favorite food, the way you used to wear his hoodie, it's often because those memories are the only pieces of you he has left. And he's trying to hold on to them, because deep down he knows he already let go of the real thing. Here's one of the most telling signs he's in the pain of losing you. He tries to replace you, and he tries fast. At first, it might look like he's already moved on. Maybe he's suddenly posting pictures with someone new. Maybe he's being overly flirty on social media, dropping hints that he's happy or healing or living his best life. From the outside, it can feel like he bounced back effortlessly, that he didn't feel anything, that everything you gave, everything you were, was just replaceable. But slow down, because what you're really seeing isn't healing, it's panic. This behavior isn't about moving on, it's about covering up. Men often try to patch emotional wounds with distractions, and sometimes the quickest way to do that is with another person, not because he's in love, not because he's ready, but because he's desperate not to feel the emptiness that losing you left behind. When he tries to replace you quickly, it's usually because being alone forces him to face a version of himself he's not proud of. It reminds him of everything he took for granted. It echoes all the things you used to bring into his life: consistency, comfort, unconditional love, that no one else can replicate. And instead of sitting with those feelings, he rushes into something new to mute the volume on his regret. But here's where it all starts to fall apart. That replacement, it never feels the same. He laughs, but it doesn't hit. He connects, but it doesn't land. Because deep down, he's still comparing. Every smile, every habit, every flaw, and every moment, consciously or not, gets stacked up against you. And she's not you. She wasn't there when he was at his worst. She doesn't know the real him, not yet. And more importantly, he knows she doesn't love him the way you did. So what happens next? The high wears off. The connection starts to feel forced. The fun moments turn into emptiness. And suddenly the rebound doesn't feel like relief. It feels like a mirror, a reminder that he's not okay. That pretending to move on isn't the same as actually healing. That replacing a soul connection isn't possible just because you found someone new to text. What's worse, most of the time, the person he tries to use as a replacement ends up getting hurt too, because she doesn't realize she's walking into a situation built on avoidance and regret. And that's the truth no one wants to admit. Rebounding doesn't just fail him, it fails everyone involved. So if you see him with someone else shortly after things ended, don't let it destroy your self-worth. Don't take it as proof that he never cared. Take it as a sign that he's trying to outrun the pain, trying to fast forward through the part where he has to sit in the truth, that he lost someone real, and now he's left with noise instead of depth. He might try to replace you, but it won't work, because you were never just a placeholder, you were the real thing. And you can't fake that, you can't recreate that energy with someone new. Not when your heart's still stuck in the past. So while he's out there chasing distractions, just remember, he's not healing, he's hurting, and eventually he'll realize, he didn't replace you. He just reminded himself what he lost. When he finally starts to feel the pain of losing you, it can be tempting to react, especially when you start seeing the signs. The texts, the silence, the memories, the subtle efforts to come back into your life. Part of you might feel validated, like, see, I knew I mattered. Another part of you might feel pulled back into the connection, wondering if maybe, just maybe, this is your second chance. But here's the truth. There's one thing you should never do when he regrets losing you, and that's rush back in. Don't confuse his regret with readiness. Just because he's hurting now, doesn't mean he's healed. And it definitely doesn't mean he's changed. Regret is an emotion. It's not a commitment. It's not a plan. It's not a promise. It's pain, yes, but it's pain without a direction. You have to be careful here, because when someone regrets losing you, they're often reacting to the loss, not to the truth of who you were. They miss the comfort. They miss the way you made them feel. They miss being loved without conditions. But do they really see you now? Do they finally value your boundaries, your heart, your worth? That's the difference. And if you respond too quickly, if you let that door swing wide open the moment they show a flicker of emotion, you risk getting pulled back into a cycle you already worked so hard to break. This is the part where you need to lead with clarity, not emotion. The version of him that's reaching out in regret is not necessarily the version that will stay. Sometimes he's just trying to stop the bleeding. He's looking for comfort in the place he lost it, you. But the second he feels a little better, if nothing's changed within him, he'll repeat the same patterns, and you'll end up feeling hurt twice, once from the loss, and again from giving him another chance he still wasn't ready to earn. Never give someone immediate access to you, just because they're in pain. Pain doesn't equal growth. Pain doesn't equal accountability. Pain doesn't equal love. It's okay to acknowledge his regret. It's okay to feel something when he finally shows signs of caring. You're human. You loved him. You wanted this. But don't lose sight of the most important question. Does his regret come with change? If not, you owe it to yourself to stay grounded. Stay firm. Stay unavailable to anything that doesn't meet the standard you've set in your healing. Don't reply just to soothe his ego. Don't meet up just to talk. If you know it will only open old wounds, don't play the role of emotional support for someone who didn't support you when you needed it most. The truth is, if he truly regrets losing you, and if he truly wants to be better, he'll show you. He won't just reach out. He'll step up. He'll take real consistent action. He'll take responsibility. And more importantly, he'll respect the space you needed to rebuild yourself after he broke parts of you. So when regret shows up at your door, remember you are not required to answer just because he finally noticed your absence. You are not obligated to reopen a chapter just because he's finally reading it. His regret is not your responsibility. Your peace, your growth, your self-respect, that's yours to protect. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. At the end of the day, no matter what he feels, no matter how much he regrets, no matter how loudly or quietly his pain shows up, the most important thing is this: you choose you, always. You can spend your whole life waiting for someone to finally see your worth. You can waste months replaying every word, every moment, wondering what you could have done differently to make him stay, to make him care, to make him love you the way you deserved. But you weren't the one who didn't show up. You weren't the one who took something real and treated it like it would always be there. You gave your love fully. You stood by him when it wasn't easy. You believed in the potential, in him, in the connection, in what it could have been. And that matters. Even if he didn't see it then, even if he only feels the weight of it now, it still matters. But here's the truth you need to carry with you. His regret does not define your value. His pain doesn't rewrite your worth. His loss doesn't lower your standard. You don't owe anyone a second chance just because they finally woke up. You don't owe your peace to a man who couldn't protect it the first time. Let him regret. Let him hurt. Let him come to terms with the reality that you were one of the rare ones, loyal, patient, present. But don't let that pull you back into something that already broke you. Sometimes the closure isn't in a conversation. Sometimes it's not in an apology. Sometimes the closure is in the growth, in seeing how far you've come from who you had to be just to keep the love alive. The version of you that stayed too long. The version of you that ignored your own needs. The version of you that loved someone more than you loved yourself. She's not in control anymore. You are. You. Right now, stronger, wiser, softer, but smarter. You're the one writing the story now. So if he comes back, if he texts, if he calls, if he suddenly realizes what he lost and wants to fix it, don't look at who he says he wants to be. Look at who he was when he had you. And ask yourself, would I choose me if I said yes to this again? Because at the end of all the pain, the silence, the confusion, and even the heartbreak, there is one clear truth. You deserve someone who chooses you the first time. Not someone who only recognizes your worth when it's out of reach. So no matter what story he tells you now, no matter how deeply he regrets, remember, you didn't walk away to make him hurt. You walked away to find your peace. And maybe his regret is the beginning of his growth. But it's not your job to wait around and see. Let him heal on his own. Let him figure it out without you carrying the weight. Because now, it's your time. Time to choose your own joy, your own healing, your own wholeness. You are not the one who lost. He is. And moving forward, you don't chase closure. You don't chase validation. You don't chase anyone at all. You choose you, always. Because that's where the real power begins. And that's where your real love story starts.